Hello everyone, and today I'm finally getting into what I'm calling our Tier 2 dimensional depots. So this is going to be our rotor and stator facility. All of these can be made with just iron, which is super nice and convenient to put them together. Let's take a look around. Okay, let's take a look at our production chain. So for the stators, we're going to be eyeballing 24 per minute here. That's going to be 3 assemblers at 200%. Working that back, we're going to have iron rods at 200% overclock speed and 4 constructors, and then screws with the cast screw alternate recipe, the best alternate recipe in the game, at 200% in overclock speed and 6 constructors, and then that's going to be 4 smelters overclock 225 and 270 iron ore, raw iron ore per minute. For the stators, that's going to be 15 as well. We're eyeing for the dimensional depot, and actually I kind of forgot to just add that, so why don't we do that right now. So that's going to be the 15 for the stators, the 24 for the rotors. There we go. I like completeness. So for our stators, we're going to be using the standard recipe, which uses the iron pipe, could be iron pipe, steel pipe, and wire. So that's 2 assemblers at 150% overclock speed. This is the iron pipe recipe. This is how I can get away without needing coal or steel products in order to make both the rotors and the stators in the same facility, which is key, in my opinion, to making not only the stators and rotors at the same place, but making motors. It makes it super easy to make motors if you just have 4 iron nodes, for example. So that's the iron pipe alternate recipe. That's 1 constructor at 180%. Then we have the iron wire alternate recipe. So that's 3 constructors at 178%. So these are not the most efficient way to use your iron. If you want to have like the most efficient raw resource take from the planet, you wouldn't use these alternate recipes because it uses a crap ton of iron just to make these steel pipes and wires. So if you want to be like the most efficient pioneer in the world, don't use these alternate recipes. If you want to uncomplicate your life in Satisfactory, use these alternate recipes. So that's going to be smelted down at 205.5% in 4 smelters for a total of 246.64 iron per minute. Now, I was doing this in the early game, so I didn't have access to the Mark III miner or the Mark V belts. So you could definitely, and I could do this now as well, bump these 15 stators up to probably get like 30 per minute with the raw iron node that I have here. But these 15 have lasted me more than long enough. I think it's going to be fine till the end of the game. So let's take a look at our map. We're in the very bottom middle-ish of definitely of the grassy fields, but of the whole map. So we're looking at about negative 470, 3015 coordinates for our rotors and our stators. There's 2 normal nodes here, so let's go ahead and take a look. This is going to be a normal node with our Mark III miner at 270 per minute. This is also a normal node with Mark III miner at 246.67 per minute. And I did a little bit of labeling in this factory just because it is a tier 2, a little bit more complex. This helps keeps things organized. So this is specifically for stator mining, and this one is specifically for rotor mining. Then of course we have our priority power switch right up front, so I can turn this on and off as needed, of course labeled. Now I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, But when I go, actually, let me just go up to the second floor and I'll show you what I kind of want to explain here. So this is going to be our smelting floor. These are the rotor smelting for the iron, and that's the stator smelting. So this right here, I put this square sign on here so I know that this is my power painted beam. So what I do in this painted beam, I actually take this wire, and let me go ahead and delete this so you can see there's another one basically butted up right next to that, and you can see that wire coming over. So that wire is actually connected to one pointing down, connected to one pointing up, and that goes directly up to the next floor. This is how I like to do wiring for machines and everything else, just because it makes it look super neat. I mean, I don't think it can get neater than this, because you have all the wires coming off the machines, of course, but then they just kind of disappear into the beams, and I really like it. You can also tell I'm using the 2-meter foundation to kind of put the machines on a different level. I think it also gives the build a little bit of depth, which is kind of nice. And I just like doing that. Of course, this is the modular load balancer mod, which I really like. I'd consider it a quality of life, but also kind of a cheat. Because could I load balance this just by using different belt speeds and everything else? Of course. Or just use a manifold system. But number one, it's a pain. And number two, it makes my computer work way too hard. And I just can't have that. The modular load balancers, number one, take a shit ton of time out of the factory getting up to speed. But it also takes a lot less computing, which is nice because there's not nearly as many belts. And then this is a counter limiter. So these are limited to a certain number, so that way only a certain amount of iron ingots can go up each one. On the third floor, we have our constructor floor. So over here on the left, we are going to have our actually, these ones aren't labeled because we're using iron ingots from this side to come over here. We're using screws from this side to come over here as well. So these are a couple of screw machines. These two are actually going straight upstairs to do the rotor assembly. This third one here is actually going over to this side, merging up with this one and going upstairs, and these two are merging up and going upstairs for the stators. So then over here we have, this is our iron pipe, or making steel pipe. These three right here are making our iron wire, which is great. And then these four over here are making our iron rods. I also really liked using balconies in this build. I'll show you upstairs, but this build has a ton of balconies on it. So this is my logistics floor. Very simple, very easy. It's not even really complete. You can tell that this power pole here is kind of leading power upstairs. Of course, we have all of our screws coming in. We have our iron rods here. Another big set of load balancers, and then on this side we have our iron pipe and our iron wire going upstairs to the assemblers. Actually, I should finish this off real quick just because I'm an absolute psycho completionist, and plus my factories, man, they need to be safe. Fix-It employees are how we're going to save the day, you know? How are we supposed to save the day if all of our employees are getting hurt on work time? So we need to put these safety rails in place to make sure everybody is safe at work. There we go. Now this is our assembly floor. So we're making stators over here with the iron wire and the iron pipe or steel pipe. Those are going into our dimensional depot, which is right here, with the smart splitter going with an overflow tab into our awesome sink. And then on this side we have our three machines making our rotors. Once again, dimensional depot, smart splitter going into our awesome sink, which I have 83 coupons right now. That's insane. So That is pretty much the entire build here. I mean, I think it came together really great, and even though it does look pretty boxy from the outside, I feel like these balconies definitely give it some depth. On this side, we just kind of have a straight wall. I definitely could have done a lot more with that to make it a lot less boxy. This side, I have a little bit of a balcony. The front, there's a couple of balconies with little awnings on them and stuff. So there could definitely been a lot more detailing in this build. But this is definitely one of the early game builds, one of the first tier 2 items that you're gonna do. So it definitely took a while, and I didn't have as many things unlocked as I would have liked at the time. So I hope you enjoy the walkthrough of my first tier 2 rotors and stators build. If you did, please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one.